Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the GameCola podcast. This is podcast number 37. We're here to talk about video games. Here to talk about video games with me is Paul Franzen, Christian Porter, and returning member Michael Gray. Everyone, introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Franzen, and I'm GameCola's editor-in-chief.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Gray. I used to be in charge of the podcast, more or less, before Jetty took over.
And I'm Christian Porter. I'm known primarily for Top of the Heap and Speak American.
So, here we are to talk about video games on the podcast. But actually, before we get started, I believe that we have some listener mail.
We do. We have letter number 2, guys.
Yes, very exciting. Can you believe
Second
that?
podcast in a row with actual letters. Well, not actual through the snail mail letters, but
That'd be cool.
that would be awesome.
Nobody sent letters when I was in charge of the podcast, which is why Jetty is much better at this than I am.
I think it's because I just kept saying that people should email us at podcast@gamecola.net, which they should. They should email us at podcast@gamecola.net.
The trick is to say it enough that they hear it in their dreams.
Which I think is probably exactly what we did.
If you listen to the podcast backwards, it's actually just email us at podcast@gamecola.net repeated for an hour.
But yes, we did get an actual letter. We actually got a couple of comments that I thought I would share with everyone. I'll save the actual letter for the main event. First, there was a comment on our YouTube channel. We upload the podcast to our YouTube channel, gc.net. And here's one of the comments we got from SaxDudeMalloy26, who we'll be hearing from again in a little bit. He was quoting us. He said that we said, quote, there's no such thing as video game humor. And he wanted to rebut that by saying, what about Scott Pilgrim? That's full of the stuff. For example, Sex Bomb. So
I played it. I played the game, and it was funny. But
I don't know if I would hold that up as the prime example of comedy in video games.
Yeah, I mean, it had some humorous parts, but I think the movie was funnier. Probably the comics are funnier. I haven't actually read them.
Great.
Well, weren't we actually just talking about that in the last podcast as well? I think this actually even sort of proves our point that the game that's based on the movie/comic series is not as funny as the movie or the comic series.
Actually, one thing I can think of that isn't as funny in the game is that when you beat people up, they turn into coins. That's completely commonplace for video games. But in the movie, that was really funny.
Yeah. Well, I think, too, the game is a little limited just because, unless I'm mistaken, there's not a whole lot, if any, text in the game. And I kind of think a lot of the humor in the comic book and the movie comes from the dialogue.
Yeah.
So a little limited there, but still, there are funny aspects to that game. We have been proven wrong. Actually, I think I was quoting Stu Jip in that anyway. So he has been proven completely wrong.
Oh.
All right, next we got a comment on the edition of the podcast we posted on the website. Comment from James. He said, it was a really entertaining podcast. I'd love to see the Yahoo Answer section on future podcasts. And I'm glad that he says that because there's a good chance I'll be returning in this episode. As far as games that would be better in a different genre, the RPG parody boss fight in Kirby Superstar made me want to see a Kirby RPG game. Kirby may not have a very absorbing story, but Paper Mario still worked out pretty well, despite its silent hero. Also, Black Gary BLAM. Which, I did a quick Google search after I saw this comment get posted, and now we are now the number 1 search hit for Black Gary BLAM.
Wow. The wonders of SEO.
We completely stole that inside joke away from those people, and now it is ours.
Yeah, so the whole, 2 people who will be searching for that will now find us instead.
And now they're going to hear a podcast of us making fun of them. And they will become loyal fans. So what do you guys think? Kirby RPG? Yeah?
I don't see why
Sure.
not.
It could
down
work.
for it. Yeah.
Everyone will work like, what's that character in Final Fantasy VI? Gao, where he gets the enemy powers. It would work like that.
Yeah.
He sucks them
That'd
up.
be cool.
That would actually kind of be cool.
Yeah.
And finally, the actual email letter that we got.
I can't do a drum roll.
You tried.
Also from SaxDudeMalloy26, or S26, I'm sorry. Hello, GameCola. A question. What is your opinion on certain games being translated into English but only being released in certain countries. For example, when Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the PS2 was translated into English, and then only released in America. No European or Australian release.
Well, I'm fine with it.
Well, to be quite honest, I don't think it deserved to have a European or Australian release, because I played Chain of Memories, and that game made no sense whatsoever.
Although to be fair, I don't think you're supposed to play that game without playing Kingdom Hearts first.
No, I'm pretty sure you can play them in any order whatsoever. It's just like the Final Fantasy series.
The stories are kind of interlocked, unlike the Final Fantasy ones. The Final Fantasy games are all independent of one another. The Kingdom Hearts games are... It'd be like reading the second Twilight book without reading the first one. It just wouldn't work.
I think it would. I think the Twilight thing might not be the best example. Boyfriends are important.
No, I mean they have a recap at the beginning of Chain of Memories, but the reason why I wouldn't release it, not because it's confusing, but because the gameplay is nothing like the other Kingdom Hearts games.
Oh, that's right. This is the one with the cards, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, it's the cards. It's a remake of the Game Boy Advance one.
I just learned the other day that was released on PS2. I had no idea until just the other day I found out. I was like, oh, really? But now that I know it's cards, I know it's stupid, so I'll avoid it.
I mean, personally, I haven't liked any of the other Kingdom Hearts games besides the first one. I don't know if anyone here has played any of them besides Michael, but...
I haven't played any
the
of
first
them.
one.
Oh, you played the
played
first one,
a bit of the second.
Yeah, well, I mean, after the first one, like, the story stops being about visiting all these cool Disney worlds and hitting people in them, and it starts focusing more on this, like, overbearing Final Fantasy-style story about all these new characters that you've never heard of and have no interest in. It stops being a fun Disney romp.
That's lame.
Yeah, I kind of... I played the second game, and I kind of completely lost interest halfway through it.
It was always, and I think they even used these terms in the first one, is that the game was Disney and Final Fantasy was its guest. It was just there as like a cameo as a guest, but it was a Disney game, and now if that's the case, then...
Oh, it's certainly much more a Final Fantasy style game, I would say. Although, I mean, a lot of people still like it. Lizzo, it's one of her favorite series still. She's played almost all of them, I think, except actually the Chain of Memories one.
I still want to play the number 2, and I would like to see more Kingdom Hearts games. I really liked it, but I wish they'd release it on something other than handhelds.
I would also be happy if they stopped repeating worlds in all of them.
Yeah.
I can only play through Nightmare of Christmas so many times.
Yeah, it was fun. Maybe I could do it twice.
It was awesome in the first game, and then they made us do it twice more in the second. So
how can there be a lack of places though? It's Disney.
I know, right?
Do the parks. I'll do something at Epcot.
Go start doing the cartoons. Where's DuckTales? Where's Chip and Dale? Darkwing Duck. Anyway, have we sufficiently answered Sax Dude Malloy's question?
No, because we didn't actually discuss his actual topic.
Well, we do that a lot.
All right, so he wants to know about English releases only being released in the U.S.
Oh yeah.
Is it lame?
It is.
Yeah, I mean
it is. I feel bad for the Europeans. They always get screwed on the game releases.
Well, I don't know. We talked about that a couple of podcasts ago. That they also got a few games that we didn't.
Oh, forget them then.
But
there goes my solidarity.
But I don't know. I mean, don't they have to convert it into PAL or whatever so that it works on their TVs?
I'm sure there's got to be an extra step besides just putting it in a box that says PAL on it.
There's, marketing and distribution and all that.
I don't know. There couldn't be much to that, though, because I've played PAL games on my system, or not, on like a GameCube with one of those freeloader discs. So there couldn't be much to that.
Yeah. Well,
maybe there's just no reason.
I'm thinking of the Professor Layton series, which I'm sure I'm the only person here who's played it, right?
I played Professor Layton. I love those games.
Have you played both versions? I mean, the American version and the European version?
No.
For the European version, they replaced the voice for Luke. So they completely redid all of the cutscenes just with a new voice for the little boy character.
Huh. Why?
Huh.
I'm not sure why. I put the European version up on YouTube, and I think I got some nasty comments from, British people.
Wow.
They're very upset with the American version of Luke's voice.
Why?
They said the American version is just sort of high-pitched and whiny. And, like, that sort of sounds like how British children talk. I hate Uncle Jamie! But in any case,
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why they changed it, because it was a really terrible accent. And we just don't notice it because, if you say, hi, governor, or something like that, then as far as we're concerned, you are legit British.
Well, plus, I think we're ignoring another localization issue here between American releases and British releases. For the British ones, they have to go through every line of dialogue and just add random U's to, like, everything. And that must take a lot of work.
They must have some kind of filter, like, search and replace filter by now, like color, U.
Replace every O with OU.
Yeah. Or swapping the, like, center for centre.
Century.
Oh, man.
Yes.
We are so culturally sensitive here on the GameCola podcast.
Yeah. I am so glad that none of our British writers are here for this episode.
See, we might have needed that for, like, cultural sensitivity. Matt Jonas could have been like, shut up, guys.
And then we wouldn't have been able to understand a single thing he said.
I think maybe it's time to move on to our next topic.
No, this is on topic. Have you played Hector Badge of Carnage? Because this is a game that Telltale recently released, and everybody on GameCola loves Telltale.
Yeah, of course I've played it. I got it right when it came out.
Paul, explain this.
It's
a game, yes.
Yeah, it's like a port/remake of an adventure game that came out for iPhones last year about an overweight British cop detective who is very poor at his job and has to negotiate with a terrorist by closing down pornography stores and making a clock work.
Okay.
I'm sure it's a very entertaining and humorous game, but I could not understand any of the jokes because it was so British, if that makes any sense.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really have that issue. I thought a lot of the jokes were way too raunchy for my tastes.
I'll be picking it up tomorrow.
Yeah, actually.
Yikes.
Might be helpful for that top of the heap you're working on.
Maybe. Do they sling poo in it?
No, but there is an inordinate amount of bathroom-related objects.
All right. Well, I'm sure it's fine for another heap in the future.
Okay, fine. Then my point that I don't understand British games is invalid. So then, in that case, it should be really easy to transport games from...
Yeah, they clearly did not make any effort to localize that more for an American audience, or if they did, it doesn't really come across that way.
Yeah.
But maybe it's also easier to bring games to a different country. Like they don't have to worry about making sure they have, I don't know, like maybe are the discs different somehow when you're making a disc-based games from one country to another?
I don't believe so, no.
Oh, okay, then I got nothing. All right, someone give us a topic.
Okay, well, I really don't want to bring up the exact same topic again, but Phoenix Wright.
I think we have every right to bring that up now.
Yes.
I think we've been really good about not talking about Phoenix Wright too much the last several episodes. So.
Yeah. I think we talk more about how we talk about Phoenix Wright all the time than actually talking about Phoenix Wright.
This is very accurate.
I've not been on the podcast, so I haven't been forcing everybody to talk about Phoenix Wright every 3 seconds.
Hold on. Okay, Paul and Michael Gray, here's the topic. Who should go out?
Clearly it's Phoenix and Maya, but that's not the topic Michael wants to talk about.
Clavier and Ema, totally.
Wait, who should go out with Edgeworth, though?
Edgeworth and Franziska.
Oh, of course.
Didn't you see his comic that he made?
I did.